everyone, it's April, and thanks for stopping by my channel, My Crazy Creative Life. In today's video, we are making some homemade cinnamon rolls. If yummy, scrumptious, delicious cinnamon rolls, and I'm going to show you the picture. If these look good and they sound good, then keep watching. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with these cinnamon rolls. I know my oldest daughter, she said, Mama, she said, when are you going to make those cinnamon rolls? I've been craving them. So I thought, well, let's go ahead and try to get started today. It's not raining today, so hopefully the weather won't affect it, because weather can affect your dough. So let's go ahead and jump in. All right, here we go. To start off with, we're going to proof our yeast, just like we did with the video where I made the pizza, the homemade pizza dough. And I will link that somewhere up here and down in the description box below. That way, if you want to go watch the homemade pizza dough, then there it is. But anyway, we're getting ready to proof our yeast just as soon as my liquid cools down to around roughly 110. But right now, I've got a half a cup of the sugar that's going to go in these cinnamon rolls in my bowl. The other 3/4 cup will go in the actual big mix, but this is just for the proofing. Then I'm going to I keep it in the freezer in a quart jar. That way it keeps your yeast active longer. So there's 1, 2, 1/2 teaspoons of the yeast. I'm going to put this back in my freezer. Let's test and see how hot our milk is. And the next thing I'm going to put in here, it's a half a cup of milk and half cup of water. And it's down to 117. So I'm going to take this opportunity to let that cool a bit longer. And if you watch that video, the pizza video, I used a different towel. I told y'all I had a towel that I love for bread. This is my towel I love for bread. Let me try to pull you out here some if I can. I don't know how well you can see that. It is just an old tea towel. It is thin. It doesn't have any of like the fuzz on it. It's just a tea towel. It's even got a little wear and tear on it, but I don't care. This is my favorite towel to get wet and then put over my bread. So I'm going to get this hot with hot tap water, and then I'm going to wring it out, obviously. And let's see, let's test our, and if it's down to 113 now, you want your liquid to be roughly around 110 degrees, but definitely no more than 130. 130 will kill your yeast. But your liquid has to be warm enough to activate the yeast. So somewhere between 105 and 110 is ideal. I'm gonna go ahead and pour my milk water mixture. Like I said, it is a half a cup of milk and a half a cup of water. Just want to give this a quick stir. You don't really want to stir it too much, but I'm trying to get some of that yeast down. I'm going to put my hot towel over it, and we're going to set it to the side. And roughly within 5 to 10 minutes, we should see a bunch of foamy bubbles. All right, here we go. I mean, that almost looks like a oatmeal to me, but that means that our yeast is good and bubbly, and that's going to give us a lot of lift in our cinnamon rolls. So before I pour this in, I'm going to add the rest of the stuff to my flour. Let me get you moved over here now. What I have in here is 3.5 cups of flour, and after everything gets all blended and I take it to my counter, I will most likely add roughly another half a cup of flour. It'll just kind of depend on, honestly, with bread, it depends on the day, the humidity, you know, which that could be caused by a rainy day, a dry day. There's just a lot of things that can alter your bread making, so it's kind of fun. But anyway, now I'm going to add to this flour the other 3/4 cup of sugar. So that's 3/4 cup of sugar, and if you remember, we used 1/4 in the bowl to proof our yeast. We're going to need a teaspoon of salt. You want to really incorporate that salt and kind of hide it in that flour really well. You also want to sift your flour. But you want to incorporate that salt really well, because your yeast, if it comes in direct contact, it can kill the yeast. So you want to just kind of hide that salt in that flour real good. Okay, so now we've got our sugar, our salt, our flour. Next, we are going to add some melted butter. It's a 1/3 cup of butter. And so you can either use a 1/3 cup of butter.
This may be where my mistake was. I never even thought to look at my butter temp. It's possible I killed my yeast when I poured that melted butter in. So next time I'm going to check my butter temp.
You use a 1/3 cup of butter, or if you have butter in the sticks, it's 5 tablespoons and 1/3. And if you kind of want to see more about how to cut 5 tablespoons and 1/3, then go and watch any of my videos where I've done the blondie. So anyway, we're going to use a 1/3 cup of melted butter. Then it calls for 1 egg. And if your egg is still cold from the refrigerator, if it's not got to sit out long enough, just put it in a cup and pour hot water over it, and it doesn't take no time for it to warm up. So I'm cracking my egg, washing my hands. Okay, I'm just kind of breaking that egg up a little bit. Oh, this does not call for oil like my pizza one did. It called for oil. This one, and I forgot my oil, but anyway, you'll have to go see what happened there. But this one actually called for the butter, so that's your fat. Okay, now I'm pouring in the water and the milk and the yeast. And let me get a spatula. Now I'm going to put my lid down, lock it in place. If you can, I forgot to add this, if you can, use filtered water. And so I just grabbed the water out of my fridge. But okay, we're going to turn this on. I'm going to start it off on 1, let it kind of blend everything, get it incorporated. And then I'll put it on up to 2. You don't ever want to run it really high. 3 at the most for the speed. Let it mix for probably about 5 minutes. And then I will take it off and bring it to my countertop and hand knead it, okay? So here we go. It'd help if you plugged it up. Okay, here we go. I'm putting it on 1. We are spinning, we are going. We're out of 1. It almost looks like 2 at the angle I'm at, but it's not, it's 1, I promise. And I will stop this and kind of help it out around the edges there. I will help that out. And okay, that looks a little bit more stickier than it should. I've only had it going about 2 minutes. And so I'm going to add this other 1/2 cup of flour, and if I need more flour when I get to my counter, that's fine. This is almost a cup, so I'm going to add what I think is a 1/2 cup. That probably about right. Because it shouldn't be that sticky. This is looking better. Okie dokie, I'm back. I let that go probably, I would guess, about 10 minutes instead of 5. I think it needed a little bit longer. Now, like I said, this is a softer, stickier dough, so it's not going to look as much like your bread dough at first. Come on. Okay, so this is so sticky, I know it's going to need a little extra flour. Then you just go to kneading. And I don't know how to tell you what to feel. It's going to be elastic, sort of. It's going to have like a poofiness to it. Like I said, this dough is a lot softer. I don't even know how. It's more velvety. Would that be the word? I don't know. Now I'm just adding flour where it's more tacky than it should be. But it's definitely a softer dough than a bread dough. Hold up in its little ball. And all I'm doing is just taking my hands and kind of going under like that and kind of squeezing. Trying to form that ball under there. Just taking my fingers, like I said, and just tucking it under, trying to tuck it. Sometimes I'll take it, bring it together, and squeeze it. Okay. And then I'll set it down and I'll turn it and play with it. And okay, so how do you know if it's probably kneaded pretty good? You see how I poofed that in there and it's left a little bit of the indentation, but it's trying to come back out. Almost like a sponge. Or almost like it's alive and it's like you're pushing its air out and then it's filling back up with air. Okay, that's how you know you're ready. I'm going to put this in a clean bowl. Hold on. All right, I've got my bowl washed really good and it's getting clean. Sometimes, now I've thrown it right back in the dirty bowl. I have, and it's done okay. But sometimes a dirty bowl can kind of hinder it poofing up and it rising for that first rise. So I did clean it. I'm going to pour about roughly a tablespoon of this extra virgin olive oil. And then I'm going to pick my dough up and set it in that bowl. Give it a good twist. Flip it around. Just make sure that it's coated. I might need to add just a little bit more. I don't think I added a full tablespoon. So that's probably somewhere between 1.5 to 2 altogether. But that's got it good and coated. Now, I'm going to wrap that back over with that tea towel. I'm going to get it hot again, wring that excess water out, drape it back over my bowl. And if you watch that pizza video, then you're going to know I'm going to put this in my oven with the oven light on because it's cool in my house where we've got the air running. So that's about the only warm place I probably have at the moment. So I'm going to put it in my oven with the light on and I'm going to check it within an hour to an hour and a half. It should double, almost triple in size. So it should at least be up to there. So I will meet you back whenever it gets done. I'm going to clean my kitchen back up and hop in the shower, and I'll meet you when this is ready for round 2 or part 2. Welcome back. I have let this set. It's probably been an hour and a half anyway. It may be closer to 2 hours. And I'm a little concerned, but I'm not sure because I've not made cinnamon rolls in a long time. It didn't double in size like I thought it was going to, and like it sort of said it was going to. I'm not sure if this is normal or if my mistake earlier on caused this, but we'll see. I mean, and it may just be fine. But I did read that if you can take, and that's why you see little holes, if you can take your finger, stick it up to your knuckle, and then pull it out, and for the most part it leaves that indentation, then I think it said you're good to go. Okay, we're going to take a stick of butter, softened butter, and I think I almost got it to melting, but it'll still be okay. Take a cup and a half of packed brown sugar. Okay, and we are going to smush that together. Sprinkle a little bit more flour onto and yes, my counter is exceptionally clean. You can ask my daughter. Okay. It looks like a face. Okay, all we're going to do is just take a rolling pin and roll it out. Try to do a square. It's hard to do a square, I know. So just try to do a square the best you can. Now when you make cinnamon rolls, you need to pick a day that you don't have much going on, because I've made these, I forget, I don't know, it's back. School was still in, but it was around the fall, I believe, of the year. And I had to go see my sister-in-law to get my hair done. Obviously, she's a beautician. And so I made extra, but I was rushing because I had to go get my hair done. And I didn't get to proof them like I should have. So they were not as good. I think they needed to bake just a touch longer too. And they could have been so much better. But, I mean, she still appreciated them. Okay, so what I'm getting ready to do now, this is the stick of butter. It is salted, but you don't have to use salted. And then a cup and a half of brown sugar. You can also use granular sugar or
You can do half and half brown sugar, half white granular sugar. And that's the oven getting heated up, I think at 350. But you want to try to leave a border. I almost think this should have been melted. There was, some people said to melt your cinnamon sugar butter mixture. It's easier to put on. Some said this was easier. I don't know. I almost think melting it would have been easier. Doesn't want to spread real well. But you do kind of want to leave a border, but not this much of a border. Daggone. Might have to make some more. I'm going to take what's left of my brown sugar and sprinkle around some of this. I may even get some white granular because I don't think this is enough. Either that or I've rolled it out too thin, but I don't think I did. You need it kind of thin. Okay, you don't have to do this, but I think it looks like it needed more sugar and probably a little bit more cinnamon. So I'm just gonna. Okay, I'm gonna wash my hands and I'll be right back. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna dust some of this off. Okay. I'm just gonna start rolling it on itself. Tuck it. Kind of pull as I roll. It said take some water. One of them, I've told you I read 100 of them. Just take a little bit of water to help seal the edges there. Oops, not rivet, April. Okay, that's not the prettiest thing, but taste is what matters. I've got my pan here and I sprayed it down with Pam spray. You can also rub it down with some oil or butter. Okay, so let's try to figure out where the half is. So, okay, now from here to here, where is half? Okay, and then the same thing on this one. From here to here, where would we think half would be? Okay, here to here. So each section, just look to see where you think the half mark would be and cut right there, and that kind of helps give even. Now, I know these end pieces are ugly. They're not the You can, once you get this far, after you cut them out, now that looks pretty big, but I guess that'd be okay. You can freeze them, and then what you would do is take them out and let them sit out about an hour or so before you bake them. I'm gonna put these over here on my oven. It's heating up to 350. I'm gonna take a towel like I've had the whole time, get it hot with wet with hot water, wring it out, lay it over top, let it sit, and we're gonna let these sit for at least a good 30 minutes to an hour before we bake them. This is what I'm talking about. I've got them sitting on my oven, which is warming up. This is the wet. Yes, I'm trying to do 2 videos in the same day. They won't be released on the same day. These are going to be rows, but I have never, I guess where I had to let it sit because I was finishing these. This has risen some just in the mixing bowl. So let's get making these. The last step that we're going to do for the cinnamon rolls is we're going to take 4 tablespoons of butter, 2 cups of powdered sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla, and 3 to 6 tablespoons of hot water. And we're going to blend that all together and kind of make just a glaze to go over top of them. Now you can do a cream cheese glaze or cream cheese frosting to go on top of them. And I would make cream cheese frosting, but I honestly think I'm out of cream cheese itself. So we're going to go with this frosting, but it still will be a really good vanilla frosting. So 4 tablespoons of butter, 2 cups of powdered sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla, and 3 to 6 tablespoons of hot water, depending on the consistency you want. Let's go ahead and get this frosting started and have it ready for when we do get the cinnamon rolls done. Not risen a whole big bunch. I'm not sure with this dough. I'm trying to think if I've made this recipe before, if it was a different one, but it may just be where it's a soft dough where you use the milk like I said earlier. They certainly have not poofed up like my other ones, my rolls for supper. But I'm gonna go ahead and, because they seems like they have risen a little bit, but I'm gonna go ahead and bake them and just see what happens. Okay, now these I just put in. These, they've been in there 15 to 20 minutes because I forgot to set my timer, but I know it's at least been 15, probably close to 20. I definitely know that they need more, so I'm gonna give them about 10 more minutes and see what happens. Okay, that was another 10 minutes. They're just like poking along, so we'll do 10 more minutes and see. Okay, those will cool, or I'm gonna let those cool, and then we'll put the frosting on them. But don't they look good? And it took at least 30 minutes. Well, that's all for this video today, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's inspired you to go out and make some for your family. And if you did like this video, give me a thumbs up, please. I'd sure appreciate it. It helped me a whole lot, and it lets me know that, hey, I like that kind of content, April. And if you haven't subscribed yet, why not? Right there's the subscribe button. Just go ahead and push it. I'm almost at 200, which is a very low number to some, but to me, it would mean a whole lot to have 200 subscribers. So I'm almost there. So help me get to at least 200. And go ahead and ring that notification bell. That way you know when I have posted a new video. And I hope you have a blessed rest of your day. And I will talk to you in the next one. Bye.
Final thoughts. This recipe was good. They were fairly soft. They were not as soft and floofy as I would like for them to have been. But that was probably my fault. The next time I will make sure that I have tested the temperature of my hot butter before I pour it in there and make sure that I'm not killing out my yeast, because I've made them before and they were really good. But also I think I would add a tablespoon of the yeast instead of the 2.5 teaspoons. So be on the lookout. I am going to redo this recipe probably next week or within the next couple of weeks. And we'll see what happens whenever I pay attention and don't do some of those certain things.